What did Prince Philip hide in Queen Elizabeth's engagement ring? What happened when our Rebecca first spoke to Catherine after Prince William proposed? And which royal rock has the heftiest price tag? Hello and welcome to a different kind of Palace Confidential today. That's right, it's a fashion special. This week, King Charles's cousin, Lord Ivor Mountbatten, announced the engagement of his eldest daughter, Ella Mountbatten, to Fergus Always Right. You might not know this, Palace Confidential viewers, but that is what my family calls me, Jo Elvin. Jo Always Right.
That's what we call you.
Yeah. But seriously, now this engagement did get us thinking about our favourite royal proposals. So today, we'll be talking about all things engagements, from the outfits worn in the announcement pictures to the dazzling diamond rings themselves. And then this week, I'm joined by the Daily Mail's royal editor, Rebecca English, and Claire Gisotti, who edits the royal pages of the Daily Mail website. Welcome to you both, super fashion experts. Now, here comes your weekly reminder from me to subscribe to the Daily Mail Royals channel and join the more than 469,000 people who already do. That's really creeping up there. It doesn't cost you anything, but it does guarantee that you're notified whenever we put out a new show. So, for example, earlier this week, we released an episode of Reading the Royals. So if you're sad that our Richard Garden of Eden is not on today's episode of Palace, it is worth a watch because he's taken an in-depth look at the many ways Meghan Markle has broken royal protocol. That video will play straight after this. And if you want even more Richard, and who doesn't want more Richard, we also have the Palace Confidential newsletter that is sent directly to your inbox every Thursday evening. Each newsletter is packed with exclusive royal stories from the Daily Mail's royal experts, images from a rarely seen archive, as well as polls and trivia questions, and it's free, and you can sign up by scanning the QR code on your screen now. That was a lot of information, and we've still got even more to come, so let's get to my panel. Good afternoon to you both. Rebecca, we'll start with a love story that spanned more than 70 years. Prince Philip asked her then Princess Elizabeth to marry him in 1946, but her father, King George VI, had a few conditions, didn't he?
He did, and can I just say what a great idea to do something on royal engagements and weddings, because we're actually not going to see one for a long while as regards senior members of the royal family, because the family
that's
obviously...
That's a bit of a downer, isn't it?
Because they're all either, happily married, or we've got much younger children. So yeah. I remember covering a spate of royal weddings and engagements, and yet probably won't do one for another 10 or 15 years.
Well, we'll still be here to cover it.
Yeah, well, hopefully. Anyway, Princess Elizabeth and Prince Philip, and it wasn't considered, ironically, the perfect match, which is ever so strange considering what a long and solid marriage they had. But at the time, obviously, Prince Philip had a rather rootless existence, from the exiled Greek royal family. He kind of literally was moving from one place to the next, never any kind of steady family background. So he wasn't considered someone who had the best prospects for Princess Elizabeth. So,
but she'd made up her mind.
She had,
and he was very handsome.
It was literally,
so
wasn't he? I mean, he was described as having the looks of a Greek god, and that kind of, and that beautiful aquiline profile, and you can see why she fell for him, and fall for him she did, and she made it very clear to her parents that this was the man for her. Yeah, so obviously they wanted him to become, although he was a prince of Greece, they wanted him to become a naturalised British citizen, and also that they waited until she was 21 to announce her engagement, because of course they wanted to be absolutely sure that this was the right thing. But of course she was. Yeah. And the rest is history, as they say.
It's incredible, isn't it? Now, Claire, when they did finally announce their engagement in 1947, the world got to see the ring that Philip had made for Elizabeth. But what did he hide in it?
Well, a couple of things, actually. The diamonds were from his mother's tiara, Princess Alice of Greece, and he had them broken up and then had them set in a kind of an Art Deco setting. But what not many people know is that there was a message inside the ring. And to this day, the only people that know about this message are the Queen, who sadly passed away, Philip sadly passed away, and the jeweller who made the ring. No one else, because she never took the ring off.
Oh,
I mean,
that's the most romantic thing.
It's so romantic, and when you think of Prince Philip, you don't think of him as being the romantic type. But I really do believe that ring shows a lot about what was going on in their relationship.
Well, there was a beautiful letter that was made public that he wrote to the king, I think, in the run-up to the wedding, and saying, look, don't underestimate how much I love your daughter and how much I'm going to take care of her. And
I think that ring really shows that.
And I think that shows a very romantic side.
And the fact that she never, ever took it off, so no one ever got to see what was written inside.
Well, he was.
I wonder if she told anyone.
You know what? I probably not, because Philip was so private.
Maybe some of her jewellers, or one of her chief dressers like Angela Kelly. But
I don't know. If she never took it off, literally never took it off, then no one would know.
Yeah, her friends always say like he was. From the minute she set eyes on him, he was the only man for her, and he was the only man she ever looked at.
I love that.
Love that. Well, keep an eye out for this spectacular ring in our famous Palace Confidential montage, which we will play at the end of this episode, of course. Let's move on to arguably the most awkward royal engagement interview between Prince Charles and Lady Diana Spencer in 1981. Rebecca, this was not as romantic as what we've just been discussing, was it?
No, this will go down in the annals of history, but largely for all the wrong reasons, because it was very awkward and famous, of course, because the interviewer asked them, you're obviously in love, and Diana says, well, of course, and obviously King Charles and Prince of Wales said, memorably,
whatever in love means.
What every bride-to-be wants to hear.
Yes, exactly.
She should have walked to that door right then.
The thing is, the more, as a woman, my heart goes out to her, and that definitely makes me cringe. The one thing I would say, to maybe put a bit of balance and perspective on it, is the more I've learned doing this job and getting to know the people involved, is actually I think they were both victims of circumstance, of pressure on them in different ways, of the interference of people who really should have had their best interests at heart, but actually had what they thought was the best interest of the monarchy at heart. So in a way, and I'm not downgrading the way Diana would have felt at the time, I think they were both victims in their own way.
As a little girl watching that in Australia, I really read it as just a very awkward, very British moment, rather than I don't love this person, just somebody embarrassed about talking about emotions in that public context.
Yeah, definitely with the kind of the aristocracy, it's kind of all, stiff upper lip and never ever let on what you're actually thinking or, feeling.
And actually Richard Kay, our colleague's very interesting on this, because obviously he knew, he was around at the time, this was long before I was in royal reporting, and obviously knew particularly Diana, but all of those involved, and he's often written and said actually that Charles was in love with her in his own way.
Yeah.
But it was
good caveat.
It was a relationship that was rushed because it was felt that there was a time he needed to settle down and they needed to produce heirs to the throne. And actually, it's something that if they've been given the fullness of time to explore, they may not have gone down that road. So even someone like Richard Kay, and he really knows his onions on this, is with the benefit of the hindsight, is more sympathetic.
Well, awkwardness aside, Claire, Diana's sapphire engagement ring is world famous, instantly recognisable. What can you tell us about it?
Well, Princess Diana, actually chose that ring from the Garrard catalogue. First time that had ever been done in royal circles. Usually every engagement ring was custom made.
A catalogue?
Yes, a catalogue.
It's quite the C word, isn't it?
I mean, it's the most beautiful ring. I know, but the catalogue...
Actually, think of Argos and Elizabeth Duke back in the day.
I think the royal household were horrified because people could get information on the ring from this catalogue, which if you had the money, you could have bought as well. It was a 14-carat sapphire. Beautiful, cover,
really beautiful,
surrounded by 14 solitaire diamonds on, I think it was platinum or white gold. I can't remember the band.
I think it was platinum.
Platinum. It was absolutely stunning. But it did shock them. It did kind of make early waves with the royal household when she did this.
Well, we'll be coming back to that one. But 24 years later, Prince Charles got down on one knee once again and asked Camilla Parker Bowles to marry him. Rebecca, how was this different from Charles's first engagement?
Well, in every way, basically. In every way, because of course this was a couple who had both been married before. Unfortunately for them, their marriages didn't last, but obviously they were people of experience. They'd known each other for more years in their lives than they'd not known each other, in varying degrees of friendship and, you know, romantic entanglement. So, and obviously it was quite a slow process because they were together as kind of partners before the Princess of Wales died, and they were hoping to obviously come out in a more public way. Obviously, when she tragically died, that slightly set things back a bit. And it was always my understanding from speaking to those close to the couple, and I did a big feature on this actually earlier on this year on their 20th wedding anniversary. You know, that's how long ago it is now. And spoke to a lot of those very close to them. It was always the King's intention to marry her, but obviously there were a lot of hurdles to get over because in terms of, you know, public acceptance of their relationship, and they wanted to make sure it was the right time. But he, you know, Charles is an old-fashioned man, and this is the woman he loves, and he always wanted to put a ring on her finger.
Lovely. Well, Claire, that ring, it's rather Art Deco, isn't it?
Yeah,
And
very Art Deco.
its origins are quite strange.
It belonged to the Queen Mother's jewellery collection, and apparently was the push present that King George VI gave her for
push present.
I think it was for Elizabeth. I'm not too sure, but it was beautiful. But I think giving her a ring from the Queen Mother's collection, who he was very close to, was very significant. It was a beautiful ring.
And it's
my God!
Just in case
emerald cut.
Some people aren't familiar with the vernacular, a push present is the gift you get when you pushed the baby out.
It could have been one of the first push presents ever. I got a push present and I lost it, so my husband's never forgiven me. I know, a Tiffany diamond band. I know.
I didn't get it. Did you get a push present, Rebecca?
Huh?
Did you get a push present?
Wearing it.
I didn't get one.
I did, and I lost it in the washing machine. So yeah, no, don't. Honestly, let's not go there.
I actually feel sick hearing that.
Don't. It was from Tiffany's, and he presented it to me at the Lindo wing with this beautiful Tiffany box.
You've got better credentials than any of us for actually being here.
And then I lost it because my fingers had swollen up from having the baby.
And you've totally thrown me with that. I actually genuinely feel sick. But I think Claire's original point is right, because Charles adored his
grandmother.
Yeah. He absolutely adored her. He idolised her. Obviously, as we've spoken about often on this programme in various different ways, the Queen she was a young queen and she was having to travel a lot in the early days of her being monarch and leaving her young children at home for a long while, and the Queen Mother was the one person that, you know, picked up the slack there, as well as nannies he was close to, but he had such an emotional attachment to her. So it would not have been lost on the then Camilla Parker Bowles how significant it was for him to give her something belonging to his grandmother.
Lovely.
So again, moving in its own way, even though it might seem to an outsider a little strange.
Oh, his still waters run deep, don't they?
They do.
With his emotions. Now, well, as far as royal proposals go, Mike Tindall's proposal to Zara Phillips was perhaps one of the most down-to-earth, as we would expect, right?
Yeah.
Rebecca, are you a fan of how the rugby star popped the question?
I am, because I'm not a very fussy person on things like that. So, you know, I'm definitely from the Mike Tindall school of
proposals.
Yeah, exactly.
So what happened?
Well, they were already living together, and they had been for some while in Cheltenham. They had a house. And he said there'd been, again, you know, and this is the downside of being a royal potential bride, is that people like us constantly speculate about when you're going to do it. And that adds a whole other, you know, layer of pressure onto it. And he said what he wanted to do. I think actually given an interview with Hello Magazine. Actually, no, it wasn't. It was the Daily Mail, and said, it's not a question of when we're going to, you know, if we're going to get married, it's when, but I want to surprise her. So for him, there wasn't a grand gesture. There was no sunset, there was no flowers, there was no rainbows. He basically just walked into the house one day, I think while she was watching TV.
Yeah, in the living room.
And literally, got down on one knee and said, would you marry me? Because he wanted to really catch her off guard. And apparently she burst out laughing and laughed for ages, but I think it was laughter of delight, and eventually got out, yes. Actually, I think that's really rather lovely in its own way.
I love their relationship.
Yeah,
They
I do
seem
too.
so happy together. It's really nice to see.
And Much like the couple themselves, Claire, the engagement ring is quite understated.
So understated. And bearing in mind it was like a single solitaire with a diamond band, 2 diamond bands. It was just very understated. And when they posed for their pictures, that was another royal first, in their jeans, on a snowy day. She looked so happy. She could not stop looking at him and smiling. It was actually perfect. It was everything that you shouldn't do as a royal, but it worked.
And it worked because it was so organic and natural to them.
Yeah.
It was the kind of embodiment of them and their
And I just loved the jeans and the snow boots.
I think I mentioned it years ago on this show, but Zara is the royal I once met in a loo queue.
Oh, I do.
It's so
saying
sweet.
that.
I mean, it's a perfect way to meet Zara Tindall, queuing up for the loo.
Did she put her lipstick on in the mirror? Bless.
Well, before we ask Rebecca about her conversation with Catherine after Prince William popped the question, let's read some fashion-related comments from you. Last week, we revealed that an exhibition of Queen Elizabeth's outfits is coming to the King's Gallery in Buckingham Palace, and Aubrey had this to say: "A display of Queen Elizabeth's outfits would be fun, but how about a display of Jo Elvin's outfits?" Oh, Aubrey. She's always so creative and fashionable, and Rebecca is certainly stepping up her game too today. She looks lovely. Well, that's extremely flattering, but I slightly suspect a smaller queue to see my outfits. You can come around to my house and see my floor drobe any day you like. the clothes all over the floor. Well, similarly, apparently, look, I don't make these comments. Right, I don't choose them. Somebody else does. Just want to say. Similarly, Nick T. Cicero said, "Oh, a fashion show with Rebecca's dresses, Richard's socks and ties, and Joe's classy outfits and shoes. Please, please, please. We'll put it under advisement." Unsurprisingly, the Princess of Wales came up in a lot of the comments when we asked you for questions about fashion. Kate Ball said, "Any fashion information about Princess of Wales Catherine would be lovely to hear. Catherine is such an icon." Well, stay tuned, Kate, as we will be talking about Catherine's engagement outfit and her dazzling ring very soon. Here's another one from Diane Fraser, who said, "Question on fashion. Princess Catherine is reported to be giving a nod to Princess Diana whenever she wears a similar colour or style. Is there any truth to this? Because surely there are only a limited number of colours and styles one can wear." It's a good question. Claire, you put up a lot of stories online to do with this sort of thing. What say you?
I say that she follows her late mother-in-law's kind of style rules and always looks smart. She loves a coat dress. Princess Diana all wore a coat dress. And I think the other day she came out in a beautiful navy and cream Susanna London coat dress, which was very similar to 2 or 3 of Princess Diana's outfits. So I think it's just that she has probably studied her mother-in-law a little bit and is kind of using the same style formula, and it's quite themed. You know, when she arrived in Scotland to name the boat, it looked quite nautical. That was the kind of thing that Princess Diana would do. So she keeps it interesting, fills our pages.
Absolutely, and it's always fun to go through the archives, isn't it?
And they both had stunning figures. You have to remember that. Yeah. So they both had like model figures, both very tall, both beautifully slim. So they are going to look similar in that respect. And all the clothes are going to just look like they've just come off the catwalk, basically. But yeah.
I agree. I think it's not necessarily she's trying to particularly ape the late mother-in-law she never met, but I think you're absolutely right that it's a natural style.
Yeah.
And what Diana created has stood the test of time.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot of young people, it's a huge thing on kind of TikTok and social media again, that they're all wearing the kind of Diana jumpers.
Yeah, athleisure, all her gym wear. It's huge.
So
her skirts, her polka dots, her pussy bow blouse. I mean, I've got one friend who literally has Princess Diana's wardrobe in her wardrobe. She's copied the outfits. Yeah, Alice Hare, she's in fact a fashion stylist, and she's obsessed with Diana's fashion.
Wow. There you have it. We'll have to get her on the show. Well, whatever the case, Catherine's engagement ring is most definitely a nod to Princess Diana, given it once belonged to her. Now, Rebecca, do take us back to 2010, when you were one of the first people to speak to Catherine after Prince William's proposal. What was your impression of that ring?
Yeah, although I do worry I sound like an old duffer in a bar telling the same story on this, but it was a really unique moment. And actually, I was on maternity leave when they got engaged, and I knew this was going to happen while I was off. And I got a call from the palace in advance saying, look, I know you're on maternity leave, not meant to be working, but we think you might want to know about this. And would you like to come to St James's Palace to meet the couple before they do that big official photo call? Oh. And how I was not going to turn down the chance to do that, obviously. So I remember ringing my mother and saying, I'd never met my baby before. Can you please come look after the baby for an hour? Running to St James's Palace. And at that point, they hadn't announced the ring. And I think, you know, in the excitement, we were all just like, oh, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. And everyone was so happy and excited. No one actually asked about it. And she went around kind of small groups of us chatting and, you know, William introducing her, saying hello. And, you know, I was actually surprised how confident she was, considering she was in a room full of journalists. I mean, truly walking into
But she had been on the scene a long time.
The Lion's Den. But
he made her wait,
didn't he? She suffered a lot of, you know, of slights at the hands of, you know, the media generally, and she'd been monstered by photographers. So you could understand that she maybe would have been less enthusiastic, but she was elegance and charm personified. And I remember chatting, and suddenly just my eyes were drawn, because I'm very short and she's very tall, you know, drawn down.
Ring level.
Drawn down to the ring. And I suddenly looked up and, you know, blurted and just suddenly went, oh, is that what I think it is? And she just smiled very sweetly and kind of held it out and looked at it and went, yeah, it is. And William really wanted his mother to be, you know, part of this journey with us, because, you know, she couldn't be here in person. I was like, oh.
That's lovely.
It is lovely. It is the most stunning ring, and it's got that unique legacy. Do you think that makes it the most expensive royal engagement ring?
It's always so difficult with prices, because what makes them so priceless is the provenance of these rings. I mean, as Claire, I think, said, it cost £28,000, which, you know, back in 1981 was a significant amount of money. But it wasn't a ring that was custom made for her, so in some ways would therefore make it less valuable as a piece of jewellery. But because of the history and the provenance of this, I would say, although estimates have been given on the actual stones themselves of £300,000 to £400,000, it just is a priceless piece of jewellery.
Yeah, I'm thinking millions.
Yeah, I mean, it will never come on the market, but if it did, I agree, if it went up for auction. I mean, look at how much Diana's dresses have gone for, let alone something as singularly unique and as, you know, personal and as priceless as this.
Do you think it will keep getting passed down, like maybe to Charlotte or even George?
It's a good question. I don't know. I mean,
I was just thinking that in my head, actually. Yeah. It might just lie with Catherine. Yeah. I think, I don't know, because for Charlotte to get it, Catherine would, you know, she wouldn't pass it if she was still alive. I'm thinking probably not Charlotte.
I also think every generation probably likes to do something different. I think with William it was particularly unique because he'd lost his mother in such difficult and awful and tragic circumstances.
Yeah, it didn't look dated when it was on Catherine, did it?
It really doesn't.
It actually looked perfect for her.
It stood the test of time.
Because it's a unique looking ring. It's actually not a classic looking engagement ring.
To be fair, coloured stones have actually come back into fashion for engagement rings. So it's actually probably at the height of fashion at the moment.
Interesting. Well, speaking of fashion, Claire, the blue wrap dress that Catherine wore for this engagement announcement, that also sparked a bit of a frenzy, didn't it?
Oh my God, that just went through the roof. Rumour has it that they sold out within 5 minutes.
It's the Easter dress.
Yeah, it became a global sensation. It sold out in the US and in the UK. It looked lovely at the time. I think that probably hasn't stood the test of time like the ring has.
No.
Just significantly with the length, where it just finished at, kind of just above her knee. But I mean, she looked lovely. Yeah. I mean, she'd had her hair blow dried. She walked in very confident, I thought. And you know, that dress,
carefully chosen to match the ring.
Yeah,
the stunning
definitely. Ring. Sapphire ring, beautiful blue dress. You know, in the early stages, she'd got it worked out how it all works. So I don't know if that was advice from her mother. I don't know. But
she's a very stylish lady.
yeah,
herself,
she is. Yeah. So she looked fabulous, but I don't think it's stood the fashion test of time.
It was such a jaw-dropping moment though, being there, because I remember after having spoken to them and, you know, over a cup of tea, and then they went off just to get themselves ready, and we were in position, and we were in, I think it was the throne room at St James's.
Yeah,
I'm trying to cast my mind back. And kind of we were all with our backs to the window overlooking the road. And they walked in, and I'm used to being surrounded by photographers and seeing flashbulbs going over, but it was like a blaze of light shooting up from everyone, because everyone wanted to get the perfect picture. And, you know, the room it wasn't a huge room, and seeing them walk in, how she wasn't kind of blinking.
Yeah, how she wasn't shielding her eyes.
Yes, and you know, I think in that moment we realised what a brilliant addition she would be to the royal family. Yeah. And how much she would take things on, because people have been longing for that moment, longing for Diana's son. I
actually knew that was going to happen. There was a wedding when they'd got back from holiday in September, and it was the first time they'd ever attended a wedding walking in together.
Yeah.
And I looked at that and I thought,
the signs are there.
Yeah. He's proposed to her. I feel it. And I actually told one of the editors at the Daily Mail, I said, I'm telling you there's going to be an announcement soon. And he rang me. I was at home that day. He said, you were right. I'm never not going to listen to you again. You're absolutely bang on. He said, even to the week you got right. So,
amazing.
Yeah. So I was quite chuffed with that.
Okay. So we need you in your crystal ball to see who's up next.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Prince Harry's engagement to Meghan Markle. Now, Rebecca, what do you remember from that day in 2017? What was the feeling at the time from the palace?
Well, I can remember that day for sometimes the wrong reasons, because it was an absolute nightmare for me professionally. We have something in this country called jury service, where I'm sure it's the same in other countries, but you're called at random to sit on a jury and we're in a criminal court. And I was actually on jury service that week. And a bit like you with the Prince and Princess of Wales, I had a feeling in my water something was going to happen. There was just so many things falling into place.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes with this job, it's not what people tell you, it's what they don't tell you.
Right.
When you ask a question, what their face looks like.
Yeah, and Catherine looked so happy at that wedding. She was almost bouncing into it.
Yeah, there was just...
next one's going to be mine.
And I'd had a story about a week before I went on jury service, that they had arranged for a lease car for Meghan to be using in the UK, and I was like, right, okay. So this shows because obviously at the time she was still ostensibly, you know, flitting between places, between Canada and here. I was like, right, this is happening now, and the rumours reached crescendo overnight. And so I knew I was going to be in court that day and not actually have my phone with me. So I rung someone at the palace that morning and said, look, I can't shake this. It's going to be today, isn't it? And they said, well, we can't tell you, but if something were to happen today, get a colleague to call me. Because I wouldn't have had my phone. I was going to be out of contact. And I told the news desk this, and they were like, what? And I was like, you're not going to be able to contact me till 5 o'clock. And I remember running out of jury service and running to the office and then working all day.
It's no joke doing your civic duty, is it?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
A very important duty to do. But, you know, so I got a colleague to actually go. I wasn't at. The reason why I said that long-winded story is I wasn't actually at Kensington Gardens when they came out for that photo call, and that is the reason why.
You were serving justice.
I was serving justice, exactly. Yeah. And it was happy because, you know, despite what's happened since, is genuinely people were really happy for him. Yeah. You know, he'd been very unsuccessful in love with a series of high-profile relationships. And you could just tell, working with Harry, that he really wanted to settle down and start a family. He wanted to have what his brother and sister-in-law had. So actually people were genuinely happy for him.
And genuinely supportive of Meghan, thought she was a great addition.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, notably, now I think about it in hindsight, they didn't do one of those getting to know you drinks to say hello. So maybe the writing was on the wall.
That they were going to do things differently.
Yeah, exactly. But it was speaking to people down there, it was a genuinely happy moment.
Well, Claire, you're quite a fan of the ring that Prince Harry chose for his future wife, aren't you?
Yeah, I love that ring. I've loved all 4 versions of it.
I was going to say, because it doesn't quite look the same, so perhaps she wasn't as big a fan as you were.
Well, I love the fact that he got the diamond from Botswana, which was, has always been very special to him. It's the first place he visited after Diana died. He took Meghan on a very early date. I think it was the 3rd or 4th date, they went to Botswana. So it's very close to his heart. And the main diamond, like a cushion cut diamond, is actually from there. And then, like William, he brought his mother into the picture by using some diamonds from one of her bracelets and kind of flanked the main diamond with these and the Welsh gold band. But then a few maybe a year on, we saw a different ring at Trooping the Colour. It'd been changed slightly. And then I think during Meghan's show on Netflix, the question was being asked, has the ring changed again? Because it looked like it's gone from a cushion cut diamond to an emerald diamond. And instead of having the gold band, we've got kind of a diamond band. And I think more diamonds were added to make the main diamond look clearer and more sparkly.
Right.
I mean, I can't confirm any of this, but it's just what we've been looking at. I mean, I do love the ring then and now. I love a diamond. Who doesn't love a diamond? Who doesn't love diamonds?
Is that a normal thing to sort of like take your engagement ring
No.
and actually I don't like this, I'm going to change it?
I find that a bit weird.
No, it is very strange. But I do love the designs that it went from a cushion cut to an emerald, because I love an emerald cut. You can, if my husband is listening. But
to make up for that present you lost in the washing machine.
It has upset quite a lot of people, the fact that she had, I suppose, the cheek to change her own engagement ring. It was bought with love, and I think people often feel that it should have stayed in the first version.
Oh, well, I guess she's the one who's going to wear it.
Yeah.
Well, the next proposal might win the award for the most romantic, because Jack Brooksbank popped the question while he and Princess Eugenie were watching the sunset over a volcano in Nicaragua in 2018. Rebecca, I mean, that's the bar set very high, isn't it?
That's going to take some beating, isn't it?
What do you think?
And I think, as a couple, I really like Jack and Eugenie. I think they just seem extraordinarily happy together. I remember when she got her A-level results and she was about to go off to university, having a chat with her people and saying, obviously he was starting off in business in London, he was working as a bartender and then moving into management, and they were going to do a long distance relationship while she was up in the north of England, Newcastle, I seem to remember, for 3 years. And that, that is a test on any relationship, particularly at such a young age. And they were like, no, he's absolutely the man for her. Very much, I think, like Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, Mine was made up and they were determined, through everything, that they would make this work. And of course, after they married, after university, she went off to work in New York for a while, and there was a long distance relationship, even a greater longer distance relationship than just in the UK. And again, they went through that all, and I just think they seem extraordinarily happy together. And they'll often post messages to each other on social media.
It's a big love, I think.
And her saying, what a rock he is for her, and how he's the centre of the world, and what a great dad he is. And I find those things, for me personally, somewhat gushing, but for them, it comes across as being very natural, and I think those two are absolutely in it for the long run.
Well, zeroing in on their engagement photos, is it fair to say that Princess Eugenie broke royal protocol?
That dreaded word.
I know.
She liked the dress. She looked great in it. What's the problem?
What was the beef, apparently?
Well, they've always worn new dresses to present their engagement rings. She happened to wear a dress that she loved, an Erdem dress.
Of horrors.
And she did look great in it. She looked fabulous. And, good luck to her. She had a dress that she loved, and she wore it on her big day, her special day, not her big day, because obviously that would be her wedding day. But, the ring was beautiful.
And it features a rare sapphire.
Yeah, I can't pronounce that word. I've looked at it on the card 1,000 times, but I will try. It's Padparachka.
Oh, well, yes, everybody knows about
You've thrown her a curveball on that one, Jo.
Yeah, and it's a very, very kind of rare sapphire, which changes colour. It's got like a salmon hue, very rare. But it's also looks slightly like her mother's, who had a ruby surrounded by diamonds. It has a very similar feel to it. So he was obviously giving a nod to Eugenie's mother, Sarah, the Duchess of York, when he designed that ring. And she was obviously so pleased with it because, I mean, she just was like this with her ring, and it was lovely.
Oh, well, let's move on to the other York sister, Princess Beatrice, who announced her engagement to Edoardo Mapelli Mozzi in 2019. Rebecca, is this your favourite engagement ring?
Well, our lovely team has prepared cards with pictures
Yeah.
to remind us of it. And unfortunately, before we came onto air, I poked myself in the eye.
She
And
did.
I'm looking at it and I can't actually see it.
So it's not burned onto your brain.
But actually, it genuinely is my favourite one. I think it's just my style.
It's up
I
there
like
with
very
mine, yeah.
vintagey, antique-looking pieces of jewellery.
So
and
we're so awful, we make Rebecca sit here in agony with no eyesight.
it was my own fault. I can't blame anyone else for it.
But I
am
mean,
very
we love
clumsy.
everything Beatrice does and wears, don't we? And that ring
Yeah.
that Edo designed, that's the nickname for Edoardo. It's beautiful. It's Art Deco. It's got a beautiful, clear diamond in the middle. Stunning. And then it's got these like diamond baguettes down the side. It'll never date. It reminded me a little bit of the ring that Philip designed for the Queen, with that main diamond and then the diamond baguette down the side. It's very
Of course,
similar.
was
Art
echoed-
Deco, yeah.
Echoed in her wedding dress.
Yes,
because,
which
of course, memorably,
exactly
she borrowed one of
my
the King's
favourite royal wedding dress.
Queen's
That.
dresses.
I love
she
that
had
dress.
adapted. I thought that was such a
That was my favourite.
beautifully
It's
charming
so
idea.
interesting listening to you talk about jewellery. I'd be terrified if I was your husband to buy you any jewellery. You just
Don't
know
worry,
so
'cause I
much
just
and
lose
you're
it.
So fussy.
I am really fussy.
I love that. Now you've already mentioned you're a big fan of Beatrice's fashion. So tell us what she wore for her engagement announcement.
She wore, I think it was the Zimmermann, green floral dress, that's right.
Go the Aussies.
Yeah, she's probably, I mean, she started dressing beautifully a while ago, and she's never faltered since that engagement ring. I mean, her wedding dress, oh my God, it just blew my mind. It was so beautiful and such a amazing thing to make this tribute to the woman in her life who had been so important, the Queen.
Because she
adored her.
repurposed
Yes, she
Queen Elizabeth's
repurposed.
dress, didn't she?
Yes,
Hartnell dress,
she added
yeah.
little sheer kind of sleeves to it, little puff. Oh, it's just beautiful. And she looked so happy on that day. I mean, she was just like, you could see she was giddy with happiness, wasn't she?
Because obviously it was a lockdown wedding. So,
And
you
it
know,
seems like it's a good, they've got two beautiful daughters.
Yeah.
Beautiful names, Sienna and Athena. I mean, it doesn't get better than that, does it? No, she just looks stunning in that Zimmermann.
Ah, we love it. Well, as we mentioned earlier, this week's montage is a compilation of all the engagements we've spoken about today, as well as a few more, so take a look.
Tell me that you love me, tell me that you love me, tell me that you love me true. Tell me that you love me, tell me that you love me, tell me that you love me true. 'Cause you know that I do, dear.
Oh, wasn't that lovely? I feel all romantic now, don't you?
Let's go out for lunch?
No,
Yeah,
I think I might have just
lovely.
reminded my husband that I put a Tiffany diamond ring in the washing machine.
Let's speak no more
Just
about it.
make sure he doesn't watch
Let's
this.
speak no more of it. Well, congratulations to Ella Mountbatten and Fergus Always Right, the most recent royal couple to get engaged and inspire this entire show. We're wishing you all the best from all of us here at Palace Confidential. Up next is your weekly dose of Richard in a new episode of Reading the Royals, focusing on all the times Meghan broke royal protocol. Click here for that, and a reminder that you can sign up to the free royal newsletter by going to the link below or by using your phone camera to scan the QR code that you'll find on screen now. If you like the show, I'm sure you will love that newsletter. Just time now to say thanks to my panel, Rebecca and Claire, for their fascinating fashion insights, and to you for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.